Well, speaking of a relay race and seeing who's going to come out on top, we are getting ready to be treated, ladies and gentlemen, because here it is, game number 3. We're paddling back across the pond, if you will. We're leaving Hollow Rock behind, and we're heading to our home turf. Moxie, we're going to Morris Isle, and you know what? We may have 4 games left today, but unfortunately, this is going to be our last game on the caster desk. So let's make it a good one as we get ready to see who these teams are going to lock in. And I'm more excited than I've ever been to see these team comps come through here for game number 3. As we take a look, we're going to see a ton of Tessa coming through, and only two sand siphons and no cannonball. What am I watching, Moxie?
Well, this isn't a Fireflies map.
Insane.
This is not a Fireflies map. What this is going to be is long, continuous fights and a lot of third parties. This Tessa composition, it's so good at just assassinating. The Yoda is very good at scavenging those kills, but the Tessa and Viper are very good at bookending the fight, right? You can start with that Tessa ultimate into the Viper ultimate into the next, throw out of the Tessa ultimate, put together it's something like a good 20 seconds of CC. It's absolutely insane. And it means that a lot of these teams are going to be incredibly aware of their surroundings when they actually feel comfortable taking some of these fights as, yeah, everyone's just dropping away from each other, understanding if it's going to be a heavy Tessa lobby, you want to have the loot to sustain and live through that CC lockout in case you do take the hit. That means that purple armor, purple weapons are going to be massively desired, so everyone dropping away from each other, wanting to find those loot puffs, wanting to find those coins, roll for things like the soul jades and the purple upgrades that can turn the fight entirely. Because if you have that Tessa V1, if you have the conversion into the Viper V1, you still want the follow-up damage to translate it into a kill.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to kick this game off, and it's going to be very, very interesting. Like you said, Moxie, it is going to be fights and non-stop action as we kick things off here. HLG's Han, oh my goodness, already with the purple armor under their belt. All of the loot from that team, of course, contributing towards the ultimate. KLA gonna lose a member here to OUG. The King U going to go down. CXC gonna follow suit. Peak going extremely low. We're going to see the Dragons rush into the Nezhas, but there's not going to be enough follow-up as Peak will go down to OUG. And I do believe OUG left those Soul Blooms behind. HLG's Han getting caught out next year inside the Tesla ultimate, but crucially, he has the F1 up, so when the blue comes through, Han is actually covered. This is extremely smart of HLG's Han, looking to come in onto DRG's Corky, will find that elimination, and now they find another one onto Sanzi, and it's a 2v1 here, ladies and gentlemen. Wujin98 trying to cover for the team. The V1 being invested, but we're going to see that ultimate coming through from PPY. Will they be able to kill them both here, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think they have enough damage. They're looking to get PPY locked down, but PPY is going to close the distance, and HLG will come out on top of DRG.
What a play. Like you said, Han utilizing that Dakota F to be able to cover his back when the CC comes through, but it's the uppercut, the LMB from the dagger into the soul break conversion that was able to net him the second and turn the fight into their favor. GG now going to take down 521's Yin before potentially moving into position to look for a little bit more. Have to be careful that they don't overcommit, however, as JL and FPX now going toe-to-toe. Tessa ultimate thrown out from Dom Quinn, but he's also caught out by a Tessa ultimate on the other side. He's not able to interact with the Urn, had to turn around and try and peel for the rest of his team as FPX's water also getting caught by GG now, coming in with a Tessa ultimate of their own. JL XI gonna be locked down into the pistol coming on through. GG with an absolute textbook third party, able to take down one, able to take a second. FPX's water also falling beneath their might. Tessa ultimate coming through from Dom Queen, catching both players on GG's side. LXM overholding, trying to find the connection onto Zhao, who will get parried, lose the staff, lose the weapon. Tap dodges forward to be able to create the space necessary for the V1, and GG force FPX into utilizing the Wu Chen ultimate to get away from the stagger. We're going to see them try and find the revive onto water, so the disengagement as Dongqing with the meter dump locks Alex them down, secures the kill, and FPX suddenly 2 versus 1, having to deal with GG's Furry coming in with those dual blades. Another Tesla ultimate from Dongqing, catching Furry into position. Xiaohu looking to come in and lock him down with the staff for Dongqing to build up a little bit more of the nunchuck damage. Furry catching with the dual blades, but it's not enough. FPX win the fight. What a huge Wu Chen teleport to dodge away from that stun.
Oh my goodness, that looked like absolute disaster for Funballs Phoenix, but they're able to clutch it back out in the end as we turn over to the members of OUG, who have dropped an early Bane's Breath to save them from their engagement with XCG, turning immediately to do a little bit of shopping as they look to find a reset and the potential re-engage with XCG. And we are going to see a lot of this all game. The third-party potential, the reinvestment into a fight after a quick reset with the follow-up second Tesla ult coming through is going to be the recurring theme of this entire lobby. As we cut over to Team TE, off to a much slower start than we're used to seeing them on this particular comp, as usually they come out, they find those hunting paths, and they continue to look for elimination after elimination. But TE hasn't even found their first fight yet in this lobby. Team 521 here looking to chase down what I do believe is one of the members of DRG, but they are able to find the regroup. They're not able to catch them out away from the rest of the team. So 521 here on the back foot with 2 white armors is going to back away before they give too much information to the members of DRG, who are looking to play that range game, poke them out, and if they notice that that team has white armors, they would have very quickly turned on to them. Xiaonan here, XCG trying to get an engagement here onto the members of OUG. He will get the stun before it comes through, but the coverage is going to happen, and OUG's SS is coming in with the V1, is going to be able to find a huge stun, but Xiaonan coming in from behind with a massive clink is not going to be able to capitalize quite just yet. OUG's SS on the receiving end of that Tesla coming back through. They do get the Wu Chen ult out. They will be locked down, but they are going to be able to get that revival onto Jin Yu, and they want to immediately find a reset and pressure back into this fight on XCG. XCG on 5 eliminations already, looking to continue to keep skirmishing here with this comp.
This is the pop-up game that XG have been waiting for. 521 TN now feeling pressured, having to utilize that V1 is going to force the investment on the Wu Chen V1 from JL, who now look to potentially rubber band back into the fight once the reset has gone on through. They know that 521 are low. They know that the Viper ultimate has been invested. One thing does not have one of his own, but if he can land that F2 engagement, that will set the groundwork for them to be able to come in with the kill. OUG and XTD now going head to head. OUG Jinyu utilizing that Tesla F1 to buy themselves the space. SS coming in with the F2, finding the silence onto Xiaonan, and he disappears within a matter of moments. Kaylee coming in with a third party. The V1 drop down from CXC cancels the Wu Chen TP. OUG's Jinyu able to find the kill against KLA CXC with that pole sword, and we're now going to see Alex H on the back foot, having to utilize that Wu Chen teleport to back on off from that third party. Doesn't have the disengagement tool, and this is devastation for XCG. And this was meant to be that pop-off game. This was the game that they played for. They were coming in with 5 kills before we even had the first realm of Yang. All they had to do was bring something like that to that final zone, but now they're going to be playing with their backs against the wall as TE now coming in into Celestra, trying to put the pressure onto GG. F2 finding the connection onto Miskia. It runs out, however, and he's able to peel in. VVV going incredibly low, having to back on up behind his Wu Chen, going to have a soul and coming on through, finding the enchantment onto the players. As a result, LXM swept up into the staff, having to utilize that V1 to force the players into using the Wu Chen V1 to back on off as TXJ find a revive onto VVV, back off the fight, look for the reset as DRG, having dropped in, seen the two teams over-investing in those ultimates, thinking that they had a good enough chance to play aggressively forward, forced both of the teams to back on off before they're picked apart.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate for everyone involved in the fight, but this is what we expect out of this lobby, right?
Yeah.
These is almost every single team in the lobby playing for skirmishes. They're looking to find 1 or 2 eliminations, back away, and then weave their way back into the fight. Speaking of weaving their way back into the fight, 5-2-1 here, going to go down to a massive ballista shot, combining the fire tick with the zone tick here as Team JL is able to clean up those eliminations. They're going to go to 5 eliminations. The question is, do they have enough healing? Do they have enough time to get back into the zone before this zone tick is able to crush them? And it looks like they are going to make one heck of an effort to get there. One Fang, though, however, 1 to 3 grapples left remaining as we see those Realm of Yen come through. Oh, there we go. They're going to do a little bit of shopping. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. HLG versus VNGC inside your Realm of Yang.
VNGC right here coming on in with those grapples. VNGC's mind trying to open up with the LMB to clean through some of these players from HLG's side. Takeda F coming into play. No one able to throw the blue, but the Gusto fan is still considered a light, and Mines loses so much of his armor. Has to utilize the ultimate to knock the players of HLG back and look to pick up the zoning. Both Tumultuous going to utilize those wind walls as Mines has 2 shoves left. He uses one to push Han away with that fan. We're going to see the loss now being invested, and he doesn't have it to back Cuckoo on off of him. The zip heal coming on absolutely clutch for both of the players from VNGC, stacking too close. The pulse of cleave cutting through both of them. Mines losing the weapon to the parry coming on through, and HLG clearing the board. VNGC lose the mirror matchup, and HLG pick themselves up not just the Vermilion Birds might, not just 3 extra kills, but that is a legendary pole sword in the back pocket for a trios player, where you can sit in on the sidelines with that weapon, charging up the right click, waiting for someone to get locked down, and then when they're least expecting it, cut through and absolutely stomp every single shred of health you have.
Or you could just put it on Takeda and get free value out of your Furin in late game. We've seen it time and time again. Either way, an absolutely massive pickup for the team here as we cut to KLA, engaging on to BBE, but no, CXC greased himself out of the ultimate, and BBE absolutely butcher the members of KLA. CXC misreads the timing on the Viper ult into the enemy team's Viper ult. They get stunned out first, and all 3 members of KLA will be going down to BBE. Bamboo Esports gonna find their first 3 eliminations coming in here. Their full team wipe as we cut over to VNGC with that Yang depletion coming back into the game, and they're gonna have to find a team to pick some eliminations up on if they want to keep the dream alive.
Yeah, that last fight just showcasing why exactly these pro Viper players, they put themselves up onto the high ground, they put themselves up trees or on rooftops to drop down with the ultimate so that they are not vulnerable, that they're not showcasing that that tether is about to snap into position. And unfortunately, when 2 Vipers ult and 1 Viper ults first, it's always going to be able to snap the secondary Viper ultimate out of the ult, and you lose all of that rage. It's not like something like a Tessa V3 where you retain 50% on a failure. As HLG's hand getting swept up into the RMB of that fan, as well as the Tessa ultimate does manage to interact with the soul urn before FPX's Don Quing is able to pull him away, but he's still gonna go down. The amount of pressure that Takeda took immediately forced the zip into utilizing that V2 as XCG with a huge drop down, stunning every single player in the area. Do they have the follow-up damage? No! They turn on to HLG, the team that still had the zip V2, and as a result, Cuckoo remains standing, throwing the wisp behind him, but Xiao Nan swapping to the bow. LXH the pistol will be able to clear him regardless, and XCG with a successful third party back on off, waiting to see what FPX and KLA respond with.
Oh my goodness, this is exactly what I wanted to see out of this lobby, Moxie. So many of these teams coming in, looking to just weave in and out of these fights, finding those extremely strong third parties coming in off of those Viper V1s, and it's XCG who's finally finding a little bit of momentum here. KLA on 5 eliminations as well. HLG was looking like they were going to have another strong game, but they lost 2 of their members in that fight over to VNGC, who have a minute and 17 seconds to find a conversion onto these eliminations if they want to keep the game alive. Turning on to OUG, keeping Jinyu locked down in the stone form, but Jinyu going to pop the ultimate here. Mine's going to clear the ultimate from Jinyu off of their back here so that they can look to cover. We will see the Wu Chen TP immediately invested by the members of OUG, and OUG just look to break away as fast as possible. Unfortunately for the members of VNGC, they cannot afford the time it's going to take to hunt them down. They have 46 seconds left remaining in the lobby. They do have the bounty onto this team, but the other team is just going to run. I think they have identified that VNGC has the Yang depletion. The aggression coming through. The no ult zone going to be activated. VNGC Mines pops the F1. He's not going to be able to find the value. He gets silenced. There it is. It will come through. Zinyu tries to get a little greedy. Mines knows they have to do something. 22 seconds left remaining. The uppercut. He's trying to find a single soul bloom for himself, but the ultimate coming from out the zone. There's no time left. 14 seconds. They have to find an elimination. The Clank coming in. The third party. There's nothing VNGC can do. They're going to go down as Zinyu picks up Mines. And ladies and gentlemen, VNGC will be sent back to the lobby as JL comes in for the third party and looks to do the same to OUG.
Well, VNGC may be sent out of the lobby, but they still pick up an elimination as OUG got hard griefed by that no ult zone popping into play, showcasing that there's a fight going on, and it is indeed only SS who's able to survive the fray on OUG's side. That is the danger when you kite that no ult zone. It is very obvious. You see it from very far away. You know that a fight's going on, and for a team that has a composition with things like the Tesla that relies so much on the CC, you can use it outside of the no ult zone, and it's still going to be able to connect onto the players therein, and you can utilize that CC to push in with the engagement, knowing that things like that Sand Siphon do not have the Zip V2 in the back pocket for them to activate to be able to sustain through all of those stagger frames. As GG playing for control of the Morris Blessing, not putting themselves, well, they've got the Wu Chen, so they really don't want to put themselves inside one of those Realm of Yangs. Instead, they're looking to try and find that upgrade into the purple armor off of picking up this Morris Blessing. DRG also in the area looking to grief that potential opening, having that high ground, having that potential drop down coming on through. GG using the Wu Chen wind wall to be able to block that range poke pressure coming through. LXM will be able to pick himself up that purple armor, and TE now have got to try and figure out whether or not it's worth trying to take a fight, but playing a little bit slower. They are currently on an absolute 0-kill game. This is incredibly uncharacteristic for this team, but yet again we see, just like in game number 1, they have identified that there's going to be teams that are far more aggressive and just push in terms of loot with those Soul Jade setups into having far more firepower in this current stage of the game. TE back on off entirely. They don't want the Morris Blessing, they don't want any heat on their name. They're going to play for all 3 of their players to survive until that final zone.
Taking a look here, FunPlus Phoenix pressuring on to Team GG. GG here with the Draco Storm. Absolutely just cutting through all of these teams. It's BBE's Fat Mill who is caught out, however, and GG is going to pick up their 6th elimination of the game as they look to come in. They take a little bit of Toxi-Shroom damage here, but they're going to get healed up real quick and want to turn back into the direction of where FunPlus Phoenix ran off to, because they want to make the most of this buff as humanly possible. We're going to see FunPlus Phoenix is just absolutely gone. They want nothing to do with that engagement anymore. If we take a look at the overall leaderboard right now, it's OUG and JL leading with 9 eliminations each, but HLG 6 eliminations, XCG 6 eliminations, GG 6 eliminations. This is a very, very tight lobby. BBE, who went out with 6 eliminations. HLG, though, crucially, they have a very strong game so far. Now they're coming in. They've got legendary loot under their belt as well. They lost 2 members to an extremely bad third party, and had now been able to get those 2 members back in and immediately geared back up because of how many skirmishes were going on. was very likely that they just walked back to their bodies
Ballista?
and looted straight up. We are going to see Ballista Watch coming into play, Moxie.
Yeah, XCG taking advantage of the position that TE had actually abandoned. TE identifying that there's pressure, sending one of their players to the base of Ballista to deny XCG the control of it for the rest of their players to be able to kite around. As GG taking a little bit of pressure from that right flank from JL. Definitely, however, the team that is going to be applying a lot of pressure on this lobby is potentially going to be HLG. Having that Mystic Might, having that Werewolf, an understanding of players' positions around them, as well as that 25% damage reduction, and 2 legendary weapons, one of which being that dagger that they turned into the fan to benefit their Takeda ultimate. The Fury and Shove, just like Longsword, finds so much value with the follow-up from the fan with the range that the R&B has and how fast it can connect. In fact, there's an entire Touch of Death combo with Takeda on that fan, as we can have a look in here from one of your favorite players, XCG Xiaonan.
遇到过的失误啦、失误点什么的，给自己再复述一遍。我感觉以 TE 的打法，想击败他不容易，因为他比较找不到他的人在哪里，所以说我们想击败他，必须得回合镜碰到，完了看我们自己发挥嘛。如果说我们的回合镜能拿下他，他的胜率这一场的话就会比较低了。我对我们夺冠的概率一半一半吧，反正看总决赛当天的状态，反正我们也会奔着这个冠军去使劲嘛。
That's really interesting to hear that Xiaonan was saying TE are really hard to locate, so you have to try and find them inside the realm of Yang. And that sort of plays into why TE are avoiding it, right? This is a team that's coming in with a tag of an 100% win rate on the realm of Yang. They have to know that these teams are expecting them to take that portal, to take that gateway. And if you've practiced a strategy specifically against TE, the realm of Yang is where you're going to be most likely putting it into play. So by TE actually avoiding that almost entirely, it kind of means that all of these teams who thought about how to counter TE have been reset all the way back to square zero.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Moxie. TE is one of those teams. When we talk about making themselves difficult to locate, like you said, they have identified that everybody knows what their strategy is. XCG was just talking about that exact same thing, right? That they usually know how this team plays, but they've made it so hard to locate themselves. And now they've changed up that strategy yet again, trying to stay away from those realms of Yang. They worked extremely hard in game 1 to create a cushion for themselves so that they could play differently throughout the day, so that they could slow things down. They're heading into late games looking to just capture a couple of eliminations and play for consistency so that they don't have to fully expose that hand and potentially push themselves out of the lobby with 0 points early on.
Yeah, HLG, one of those teams that's definitely going to be playing for late game as well. But I mean, you have to be concerned if you're a Sand Siphon composition. The later on this game goes, the more chaotic that last fight is going to be. The more value the Viper and the Tessa are able to find. V1 is dodgeable, but in trios, it's a lot harder to be able to anticipate when it comes out in comparison to something like solos. It's why when we see Tessa in solos, a lot of the time players straight up avoid locking her in because players are just able to dodge that throw out of the V1, of the V2, and the ultimate doesn't find a whole lot of value. In trios, however, you're having to contest 2 additional players, and that's if you don't have to worry about a third party coming through. T now up to their old tricks, going to control that Morris Blessing. Have they been able to pick themselves up that Flamer? Have they been able to pick themselves up that box? No, they have not. VVV gets the Tessa V1 connection and has to put himself over the cliff edge so no one is able to follow up onto him. Swaps over to the fan to be able to scale rush before coming back on the cannon to grief out FPX. I theorized that FPX and T would run into each other because of this strategy of trying to control the Morris Blessing, and that is exactly what has happened. VVV, one of the best Vipers in the world, deciding to prioritize holding onto the high ground at the top of that tree in case FPX make a play for the Morris Blessing to hold on to the V1 and drop down, land a stun onto FPX and grief them, as every single team is going to see an incredibly vulnerable team on top of that box and turn their attention. And as a result, FPX just has to bend the knee and give the ground. No kill goes through, but that Morris Blessing remains closed.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to talk about what Leo just did in the midst of that as well. I don't know if you saw, Moxie, as we see the V1 connection coming on to VVV, VVV backs away and Leo armor swaps VVV into a full purple armor. So even if that connection from the V1 does come through and stun them, they have a cushion to try to maintain and keep VVV alive. Absolutely crucial, critical decision-making coming in from the members of Team TE. Fun plus Phoenix still trying to take this Morris Blessing, and Dogwing will find the value. He's able to get that legendary armor out of it. Xiaonan coming through, looking to see if they can get any goodies from it before this zone continues to collapse. And Fun plus Phoenix finally are able to find that Morris Blessing that they've been looking for all day. Let's see if they're able to make use of it heading into this final circle. OUG's SS just trying to keep themselves from being seen here, but taking a ton of zone tick damage. Going to utilize that pole sword to create a ton of movement so they can look for a space to find a reset, Moxie.
Oh, they're able to regroup with Jinyu as well, but TE out towards the open, trying to find some of these players who were looking to utilize the edges of the zone and hide. OUG finding the revive onto the King, having to immediately mash and just get away from that soul altar before they get jumped on. DRG Sanzi, the grapple cancel coming on through from SS, carrying with that pole sword all of that momentum to keep himself outside of that fight. Crucially did not have to utilize the ultimate, finds XEG. LXH has been spotted on out, but SS just cannot look for the full commitment. He knows that his team is still in that reset mode, still needs to be able to recover what has been lost. When you revisit that soul altar without Vermilion Birdsmite, you only come back with that great armor, and as a result, this late in the game, it just does not compute that you want to take a fight straight off of the rip of a revive. GG's Miskia able to just slip onto that Morris Blessing, picks himself up legendary armor with the help of Free-Free-O's Wind Walls, will be able to find the upgrade as LXM puts himself onto the treetops to try and dry out a lot of that pressure, keep the chase and attention on the Viper so the rest of his team is able to find the recovery. Crucially, that Wuchen still on blue, still needing to find the upgrades as HLG with that legendary fan in the back pocket, fully scaled up. That Takeda ultimate now in the highest tier that the V3 can be. Gold state coming on through from them. They're going to have to play out of sight. They do not want to get spotted out by all of these other compositions who are not going to want to let that Takeda live long enough to see the zone collapse and that ultimate start to properly come into the win condition. It should be OUG SS putting in the pressure onto GG's LXM, who loses line of sight on that V1, will be able to get away from the stun, but can he get away from the extension that it's brought onto him? Instead, as every single player sees that chase go down and thinks that it's their turn to come on in. FBX's Water dropping in with the V1 from downtown. GG's Miskia finds a kill onto OUG, but FBX's third party might be the winner as JL's One Fang see the newcomers and have to scatter away. FBX clear the space, pick Water up that legendary armor, and JL can do absolutely nothing except come in with the cannon pressure to chunk through it before they look for the engagement, hoping to keep FBX up against the zone as One Fang comes in with that cannon and does so much damage. TE now dropping in with the F2 on that Viper. VVV sent packing. However, as he looks for that reset, backs off for the heal. This is what's going to happen when we have 22 players left in this lobby, and so many of them are compositions designed to have third-party assassinations. VVV gets hit by a V1 from a Viper, goes down to XCG. They're able to find the F3 kill onto TE's Leo at the same time. FBX's Water with a huge Viper V1, yet again dropping down from the trees, and the lobby stands still as Water comes in with the purple pole sword and chunks TXJ down. The test is so incredibly low, finds the armor reset onto a blue, goes up into the tree using the horizontal attack on that staff to keep himself ahead of his competition. Finds one reset, but HLG now deciding to come into play. Takeda invested from Han, gets the F1 from on the zip to keep himself in the forward position. And with the ultimates now invested, we go back to the lull phase as everyone swaps to the range and tries to build all of that power back up.
HLG here, like you said, using those cannons to immediately get those ultimates back online. We're going to see multiple Tesla ults being invested here onto XCG. XCG just trying to create some space, trying to find a little bit of cover, but OUG's SS coming in with a tactical nuke will catch out NIHQ. NIHQ going to go down to KLA. HLG, in the meanwhile, will pick up LXH, and that means XCG is down to a single member. No, they're eliminated from the lobby. HLG's Han will find OUG's SS, and HLG trying to set themselves up for the back-to-back MVP coming in. The Wu-Chen ult coming out from the members of KLA, coming topside, but we will see that massive Tesla ult locking on to Peak and the remaining members of KLA. DRG coming in, but it's PPY who picks up KLA CXE. HLG continues to dominate this lobby. TXJ finding Fun plus Phoenix's water. TXJ just trying to keep it alive here. The members of HLG going to back off and immediately remove that ultimate as they take control of this final zone. It's HLG and a bunch of stragglers. HLG on 11 eliminations, looking to continue to clean this lobby out. DRG's Corky trying to maintain, but being grapple locked to the bottom side of the map as HLG's Han picks it up. It's a feeding frenzy, and HLG, they're the hungry piranhas at the bottom of the tank as TXJ goes extremely low. The Furin comes out. They continue to wait for one of these players to fall down. And there it is. Han will pick up TE's TXJ, and HLG continues to keep the pressure on as these lovely players unfortunately just fall victim. Sanzi here takes the range shot. Cuckoo picks up the elimination. KLA's you, the last remaining member, falls straight into the Furin. The parry coming through you, looking to turn onto Han, but Han returning the favor immediately. The